this morning and to be present to you virtually as we practice being in spiritual community together in new and, for me anyway, kind of innovative ways. And so welcome to Unity of Bellevue South. This is my home office, and this is where I am practicing it's where I am practicing being your minister right now. I want to begin with prayer because we always begin with prayer. And so what I invite you to do right now is to turn within and take the sacred breath with me as we recognize that something wonderful is happening, that there is an infinite presence that has given birth to all things, and we are of that presence. We have our being in that presence. And so we are a giant, great big yes to the awareness that God is good and all is well. And in this consciousness, I open this gathering with a grateful heart, knowing that all who have been called hear the message they are to hear, that there is a divine happening unfolding here, and we are active and lively and engaged participants in that. I know that we are transformed by our experience of spiritual community together this morning, and that all is well. And so I open this service with a grateful heart and call it good. And so it is. Amen. All right, beautiful. Hey, welcome everybody. I want to start with an affirmation. I'm going to invite you to, no, wrong slide. Sorry, let me get the right thing up. I'm going to invite you to declare this affirmation with me here in just a moment, as soon as I get the right one up. And we'll take a second just to look at it and just to be present to it, and then we will declare it remotely, virtually together. And so here it comes. Our affirmation this morning is this. Take a moment just to review this and to say it silently in your own mind. And now I invite you to simply say these words aloud with me into this sacred circle. I am a being of love and light, a member of the web of interbeing. I belong to the universe, and I recognize and I honor every expression of spirit. Lovingly embracing everyone and everything, I know I am blessed, and I am a blessing, and so it is. What a great way to start online gathering. I want to review just a few technical things before we get going too far here. The first is down at the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A button. You can click on that to ask a question. There's also a chat button if you'd prefer to chat. If you click on the chat button, it will bring up the chat window, and you can chat with your neighbors, chat with me, with our other panelists. You can ask questions via chat if you would prefer. So feel free to do that. If you have something that you would like to say as we move through today's material, or if you have a question, feel free to do that. This week we are talking about the Web of Interbeing, and this message is part of a series that we started at the beginning of March that is about embracing the divine feminine. We started with reimagining the holy. What if God, which is all there is, has both masculine and feminine attributes? What if God is actually beyond gender? What if there really is no gender to God, but all gender to God? So that was our conversation on the first Sunday in March. And then we talked about a spiritual response to COVID-19, the second Sunday in March. And we're going to continue that conversation probably every Sunday as we move through this time together. But we're also going to continue with our theme of embracing the divine feminine, because it feels very applicable to what's happening in our world right now. So then last Sunday we talked about receptivity, law, and creativity, how we can use the power of the law to change our experience of life. And then today we are talking about the Web of Interbeing. If you want to go back and review, you can access recordings of our messages earlier this month. Please do feel free to do that. Today, let's talk a little bit about the web of interbeing, because I don't know about you, but I've been reading the news this week, which is kind of serving as one big giant prayer request for me. And I know that for me, there have been times that reading the news is not eliciting the most positive feelings in the world. Anybody else having that experience? I have had moments of really feeling sadness, a deep sadness, a little bit of anxiety. And I have had moments of just complete and utter peace this week as well. So how are you feeling? Feel free to chat if you wish. How are you feeling this week? I've talked to a couple people who've been home now for a couple of weeks and are feeling kind of bored and they're not quite sure what to do with themselves. Others are feeling a lot of ease and space. Somebody I talked with yesterday is engaging in, she said it's the most complete spring cleaning she's ever done in her life. So how are you feeling right now? So just kind of check in a little bit, and whatever that might be, whether it's anxiety or concern or fear or joy and ease, whatever it is that you might be feeling, we don't deny the feeling, right? It is simply information for us. We don't deny the feeling and we don't deny the perspective. What we do our very best to do as spiritual beings is to shift our perspective into a greater awareness, because you know, we talk about change your thinking, change your life, and that actually is true. And I do feel like my experience of reality has shifted as I have really embraced our teachings more and more fully. But I'm also aware that I can't change reality. I can't change the fact that, you know, I don't know, 250,000 people now have been diagnosed with COVID-19. I cannot change that. What I can change is my reaction to that reality. What I can change is how I respond to that reality. Now, anybody's routine's been disrupted recently? I almost feel like I don't know what to do with myself, because every way that I've always done things it's just not how I do things. All my routines are out of whack. I've been having to create new routines, and what I realize is that as I'm trying to create new routines, it creates, you know, I find comfort in my routines, and so it has created some anxiety for me to not, you know, do my get up, do my spiritual practice, do the anchoring things I do around the house, get in the car, drive to work. Those are just all of the things that I realize give me a lot of comfort. And in the experience I'm in right now, there's disruption to my routines. And if I'm not careful, that can create anxiety for me. And anxiety always leads to worry. And worry always really leads to more reasons to be worried. Now, if this is true of me personally, and then I don't know about you guys, but you know, I have a partner, I have relationships with other people. My experience of life right now and always impacts the experience of others, because we live in a web of interbeing. We are not isolated and alone. We are connected. We say there is only one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life. It is your life. And we are all occupying the same space in the mind and in the heart of God. And we are connected by this web of interbeing. And so my fear and my anxiety when my routines are disrupted are communicated out into the experience of the rest of the world. So I have a responsibility. Now, I've been thinking a lot this week about this word virus. How about you? I looked it up in the dictionary. Here's what virus means: infective agent. It's an infective agent. Do you know that that means a virus isn't good or bad or right or wrong? It's just an infective agent. And I love that the Latin, the Greek word root literally means slimy liquid poison. Isn't that hysterical? It's venom. Think of snake venom, slimy liquid poison. virus. And in our times, the word virus has come to mean something that circulates wildly. It just gets wildly popular, and it circulates quickly and circulates wildly. That is a virus in our times. Now, isn't that interesting? We have a virus called COVID-19 that's circulating widely and rapidly in the world, but all it is an infective agent. It is making some people ill, but what if we could be a source of another kind of viral experience? What if we, as conscious human beings, could cultivate the awareness of being a source for a virus of love, a virus of kindness, a virus called compassion, a virus of peace, of ease, of grace? Wait a minute. I could be a source of infinite good for all people because I have my being in this web of interbeing, and what I have is catching. What I have can go viral. And so as we realize that we can't really change reality, but we can change our reaction to reality, and we begin to embrace peace, kindness, compassion more and more fully, we allow that to go viral. And so we have an opportunity here to cultivate a different experience as we choose to consciously make compassion and kindness our way of being. We have an opportunity to open our hearts to a new way of connecting in that web of interbeing. I want to share with you a poem. It's actually, I don't think it's a poem. I think it's just a sharing that was written by a rabbi and posted really generously around Facebook over the last couple of weeks. So maybe you've heard it already. Here's what he said. He said, "Let us consider every handshake we don't make an opportunity for a phone call. Every embrace we must avoid a chance for verbal expressions of love. Every inch of physical distance, a recognition of our need to be together. Let us find ways to care for each other in the midst of distance. If we are called to stay apart physically, let this not keep us apart in other ways." And I love it that even by our meeting here this morning, we're an example of that. We are not allowing this current experience to keep us apart. We are coming together in spiritual community, finding ways to be together because we know about the web of interbeing and how important it is for us, especially during these times of potential fear and anxiety, how important it is for us to come together and to share in different ways, to make a phone call, to engage in verbal expressions of love, to recognize that we really do need each other, that we can never be separated, for we have our beingness in the one mind. And so this is our opportunity. We can think of COVID-19 as a really great demonstration of the web, that one person has this infection and can infect two more, and they infect two more, and they infect two more. And in the same way, we can become viral love, viral compassion, viral peace, viral ease, viral grace, because we are interdependent. And in the same way that one virus can spread, another one can spread. And so we spread viral cooperation, viral emotional connection. We spread viral mutual empowerment. We champion and support one another as though we wanted to spread that all over the planet. Bobby is saying right now in chat that there are gifts to be found here, a calling to be creative, and I could not agree more. So, although there are a lot of challenging things about this time we're in, there's also an opportunity. Excuse me. And I want to give you a chance right now to think about the opportunity in three different ways. So the three things that I want to share with you right now are ride the wave, be a helper, and seize the opportunity. So three things: ride the wave, be a helper, seize the opportunity. Let's start with the first one, ride the wave. Way back in a long time ago, when I was 21 years old, I lived in Alaska, and it was really the first time I'd spent much time on boats. And there were some people that I went out quite a few times on their salmon fishing boat. And it was not one of the big ones. It was a smaller boat. And one of the early times that I went out with them on the boat, the Gulf of Alaska was kind of going like this. And in my mind, the bigger the waves got, the smaller that boat got. And I got a little bit scared. But you know, I watched these guys that I was with on the boat who were pros. I mean, they were salmon fishermen. They knew exactly what they were doing. And they were kind of coaching me. And what they were saying to me is, you know, lean into the waves. They were saying to me, keep your center of gravity low, you know, bend your knees a little bit, stay low, go with the rocking of the boat, lean into the waves. And most importantly, as I was watching them, they were so conscious. They did not let their minds go. They were absolutely 100% conscious and focused on staying balanced in the midst of big weather. How balanced are you staying? How much focus and attention are you putting on staying balanced in the big weather? You see, we can ride the waves. It's an interesting thing when you're sitting on a boat. If you're sitting on a boat and the boat starts to turn this way, what do? You turn this way, you turn into the wave. And in the same way, we have these kind of waves of news, these waves of information coming at us. And what if we leaned into it, not with an awareness, like if we go this way, it's going to toss us over. But if we lean into it with a sense of empowerment and a sense of knowing, I am part of the web of interconnection. I have a planet behind me. The consciousness of the infinite is behind me. I keep my center of gravity low. I keep my mind on God. I lean into the awareness that these waves of energy they're simply waves of energy. And I use the very rocking of the boat to help me stay balanced. I stay conscious, I stay focused on what is mine to do during this time. So ride the waves, ride the waves. The opportunity to take something viral. Take riding the wave viral. Bobby says, my son told me that to ride a kayak, I need to think hula hips, right? Keep that balance going. That's beautiful, Bobby. Thank you. So let's take viral riding the waves. Second thing I want to talk about is be a helper. How many of you have heard the Mr. Rogers quote? It's a very popular meme. You see it around social media a lot. He said, when I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. The second thing that I really encourage you to take viral is to be a helper, is to be one of those people who is helping. It's a really interesting thing for me right now because, you know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a first responder, I'm not a police officer, I'm not one of the people who is like deep in the thick of it. And it's tempting for me to sit here at home and think, well, I don't really have a purpose in all of this, I just have to wait it out. But I can help. There is something I can do to help, because in this web of interbeing, what I do for me, I do for all. What I do for you, I do for all. Lots and lots of ways I can help. If nothing else, I can ride the wave and stay conscious and know peace and know grace and know wholeness and health. At the very least, I can know something in consciousness for the rest of the planet. Be a helper. At the very least, we can be kind and compassionate with one another. Somebody was sharing with me the other day how she had seen someone in a grocery store be unkind to a grocery store clerk. And I felt so saddened by that, because it must be stressful right now to work in a grocery store. Can I have compassion for the person who is in that situation? And you might remember, we've talked about this before, the word compassion, calm is with, and passion, with passion. That is, we suffer with, we share the suffering of others with passion. We suffer with others. We share their experience of suffering. And we don't let it debilitate us. We let it activate our kindness, our compassion, our willingness to be kind to one another. I have another little poem or prayer I'd like to share with you that is really related to this idea of having compassion for others. This is written by a woman named Cameron Bellum. And it's prayer for a pandemic. And, you know, I shared the link to her blog on my Facebook page, and I'm pretty sure on the Unity Facebook page. If I haven't, I will do that, because I'm very touched by her and by the way that she is expressing compassion in the world. She wrote this poem and it went viral. So she's a perfect example of someone who is being a helper. She just wrote this comforting poem and it went viral because we are in a singular web of interbeing. And so here is the poem. And not only did she write the poem and then she shared it, but she has had so many hits on her blog, and every response to every comment on her blog, she's so gracious and so giving and so willing to share. So here's her poem. It's called Prayer for a Pandemic by Cameron Bellum. May we who are merely inconvenienced remember those whose lives are at stake. May we who have no risk factors remember those most vulnerable. May we who have the luxury of working from home remember those who must choose between preserving their health or making their rent. May we who have the flexibility to care for our children when their schools close remember those who have no options. May we who have had to cancel our trips remember those who have no safe place to go. May we who are losing our margin money in the tumult of the economic market remember those who have no margin at all. May we who settle in for a quarantine at home remember those who have no home. As fear grips our country, let us choose love. During this time when we cannot physically wrap our arms around each other, let us yet find ways to be the loving embrace of God to our neighbors. So be a helper. Be a helper. Be one who finds a way, as Cameron Bellum tells us, be one who finds a way to be the loving embrace of God to our neighbors, because how I am with me and with others, because of the web of interbeing, that goes viral and becomes a greater part of everyone's experience as we walk in compassion and love. So how are you? Feel free to chat a little bit if you wish. How are you being a helper during this time? How are you remembering to be kind? How are you helping such that the entire web of interbeing is lifted? Feel free to share about that. And in a little bit, actually, I'm going to ask Susan Neidig to share one thing that she is up to, but we'll get to that here, Susan, in a little bit. Because there's maybe an opportunity for other folks to participate. So the first one, ride the waves, low center of gravity, lean in. Second one, be a helper, make a difference, even if it's in consciousness or in the world, make a difference, contribute, do something that has meaning and can go viral in the world. The third thing that I invite you to take viral is seize the opportunity. We have an opportunity here to get obsessed with creating heaven on earth. If I had a nickel for every time one of you people said to me, oh, I don't have time to meditate, I don't have time to pray, you have time. We have time. We have time in the when life is normal. We have time for the thing that is our priority. But I invite you now in this. One of the cool things about when we are in disruptions like this is it's an opportunity to create new routines. It's an opportunity to do something new because the old routines are no longer in place. And rather than letting that experience create anxiety, allow it to be an opportunity to create a new routine. And I urge you to consider getting obsessed with creating heaven on earth. And you do that by riding the wave. You do that by being a helper. You do that by digging deep to find your own purpose and to find, in some ways more importantly than anything, find your own news. It's important that we read the news and that we keep up to date on what's going on because it's important to be informed. And it's also important to know what we should be praying for. Reading the news right now, as I think I said this earlier, is one big prayer request. So be praying for wholeness, for health, for wisdom, for intelligence, for the unfolding of all the infinite good for all people. But also dig deep and find your own news. What is the news, the good news that's being hearkened in your own soul that is leading you to a deeper relationship with the infinite? Seize this opportunity, this disruption in routine to get recommitted to a conscious spiritual life. You have time for your daily spiritual practice now. You have time. You always have time, but I'm telling you, use this disruption in routine if you don't already have a daily spiritual practice to create that now. You might also use this time to, as you dig deep for your own calling, your own purpose, your own way of being that calls forth greater heaven on earth. What is it that you are being called to create or to learn that is new? I've been practicing some video editing this week. I never would have thought that I would be doing that. And yet here I am. And it's challenging and it's interesting and it's kind of fun. And it is related to my purpose of being a transformation facilitator, of teaching the practical application of spiritual principle in people's lives. See how it's completely tied up with who I am and what I'm called to be here on planet Earth, and I'm developing a new skill around it. I'm also spending some time every day in physical exercise, which, honest to Pete, you guys, it's been a long time since I've done that because I'm very focused on my work. I'm very focused on that, and refocusing on my physical body this last 2 weeks has been a really brilliant opportunity to re-anchor in what it means to appreciate the temple in which I walk. So the third thing that I encourage you to take viral is seizing the opportunity to seek first the kingdom and know that all else is added unto you as you engage in riding the waves, being a helper, and seizing the opportunity. I'm going to take a look at some of your chats right now. I kind of haven't taken a break to do that. Dorothy says, when we're talking about riding the waves, she says, it sounds like surfing. I love the image of maintaining virtual balance in the midst of the fear and the chatter and the overwhelm. Thanks, Dorothy. It's absolutely, if I probably could have used that metaphor if I'd ever been on a surfboard, but I haven't. Someone else says, one of the ways that we can help is to not remain in fear. The web of interbeing is a consciousness web, and where we are in consciousness is so critically important. And if we are not able to be in that consciousness of peace and ease and grace, we had a great example last week. if we're not able to be there for ourselves, then we borrow the faith of someone else. We get on the phone and we call someone else and say, I need to borrow your faith for a little while. I'm in fear. I need to remember the truth of who and whose I am. Oh, great. Here's a comment from Allison. She says she's had an interesting journey this week watching her own thoughts and feelings. She says, part of me knows God is all there is and still completely at peace. But there's a part of her, she says, having this human experience. My brain has been rapidly adapting and trying to create a new normal. This process is happening automatically, and for that I am grateful. Every day I am adapting more. See, just make sure your new normal includes space for the infinite, space for the consciousness of the infinite, the opportunity, space for creating heaven on earth. Beautiful. Oh, Carol says listening. That's what she can offer. Thank you, Carol. That's beautiful. Be flexible, understanding where and how she can learn. Eb is asking about the blog, the Cameron Bellin blog. I will post that on the Unity of Bellevue Facebook page when we are complete here. She's a beautiful human being. Oh, it looks like Monica already did it. Thank you, Monica. It's in the chat. So if you want to see that blog, I don't know if it's Krug, K-R-U-G, thethinker.com. So you might want to check that out. All right. Jean says, I've been looking for positive messages to pass along. Recovery numbers. How many of us are looking at those who have recovered? That is actually a really interesting statistic, that as we consider new infections and as we consider deaths, what if we also considered how many people have actually recovered from this? There's a vaccine in trials. Here's Patricia. She says, one viral attitude we all have now is concern for one another. Thank you, Patricia. It's like activating our compassion for one another, that as we identify and recognize our own fear, we begin to realize, wow, I'm probably not the only person who's feeling that fear, and I can activate my compassion. I can recognize the suffering of others through my own suffering, and we practice lifting one another into the greater spiritual truth. Oh, it looks like that's RC commenting. He's on Patricia's chat. You guys must be watching this together. He says, it's an easy time to not be afraid and ask how each other is doing. It's wonderful, the conversations that can happen now, because we all know our asking is genuine. Is anybody else having this experience that I'm in a new level of being with family and with those I love because I'm genuinely concerned? And then Patricia says we're all in the right place at the right time, and I absolutely agree. That's beautiful. Sarah says, working from home and living alone can be very isolating, so I'm reaching out to friends that live alone. That's absolutely right. You know, my mom lives in an assisted living center, and my sister and brother-in-law have been going down, and she posted a picture yesterday. They were out on mom's patio, my sister and her husband eating lunch, and mom was just inside the sliding glass door eating her lunch in a chair in front of the door, and they were talking on the phone to each other. They were having lunch with mom. I just thought that was the most beautiful thing, that my sister and brother-in-law went down and did that with her. And what a lovely way to be of help. So thank you, Sarah, for recognizing those who live alone and perhaps need a little extra company right now. Jean says, I've talked to longtime friends that I haven't talked to. I've talked to longtime friends that I haven't talked to in a long time. So all of the ways that we can ride the wave, to lean in, to lower our center of gravity a little bit, and to stay conscious and be a help and seize this opportunity to really embrace this web of interdependence. We can use it in the same way that a virus that makes us ill in the same way that a virus can make us ill, we can use the viral tool of the virus of compassion, love, kindness, and peace to cultivate more cooperation, more emotional connection, more mutual empowerment, and championing one another. Patty's sharing with you, Friday night, her family had a Zoom gathering. Her sister-in-law had scheduled a Zoom conference, and I think if you count couples, I think there was about 10 or 12 of us on the Zoom conference on Friday night. And, you know, we all just checked in and visited a little bit. It was really terrific. In her family, we like to have game night and do stuff like that. And we haven't been able to do that for a while. So it was really terrific to have her sister-in-law schedule a Zoom conference. Craig says, we have been Zoom dancing in the evenings with our grandchildren. It's been really fun. That's beautiful. Great examples. What are other creative ways that you are taking positive steps to create a viral experience of life? Nancy says, I find myself being more outgoing to strangers than ever before. Right? You know, we've gone for a couple walks, and Patty even more than me, out in our neighborhood this last week, and we're just finding, you know, a deeper hello. You know, we don't necessarily know our neighbors very well. And earlier this week, Patty was out in the little playground across the street from our house playing 6 feet away soccer with the neighbor kids. And I just thought that was like so creative and loving and wonderful. And indeed, they were staying 6 feet away from one another. Bobby is aware of more eye contact all around, pedestrians to drivers, fellow shoppers at the grocery store. Oh, this is beautiful, Bobby. She says, it feels like a longing of sorts, a request for affirmation. It is at once beautiful, but a little sad because it is brief. Thank you, Bobby. That's very deep. Do you see Bobby here kind of leaning in to the light, but also to what's under the experience? Thank you very much. Oh, Carol, Zumba on Zoom. That's cool. 2 special instructors and our friends. Amazing exercise and joy. Susan has got involved. Actually, Susan, I want to invite you to talk about this a little bit. Would you please share with folks, I'm going to unmute you right now. Would you please share with folks what you are up to with the Seamstresses United group?
Hi, good morning. So I got
Hang on just a second. I unmuted you. How come I can't hear you? Oh, go ahead. You're good. Okay. Thanks.
Good. Yep. Thank you. I unexpectedly, I think it was 3 or 4 days ago, got involved with a group that was responding to independent clinics because some of the large systems are making face masks, and but the independent clinics were somehow being left out, and they were in crisis. They have no face masks, and we're making face shields.
Nice.
So when someone goes to take a sample, a specimen, then they're doing this. But it's Seamstress United. If you search for it on Facebook, you'll be able to come up with it. We've got several people already in Unity doing the sewing to make the face masks, and we are now moving on to do the shields and deliver those. So we're in production, and we're sending them out. We've got some volunteer drivers. We're going to use Lyft. So it's an amazing thing that's come together in a matter of days, and we've already delivered almost 200 masks, and it was just a small group, but it's exploding. So you're seeing a lot of people around the country pulling together to meet this need.
That's beautiful, Susan. Thank you so much. What a way. She's riding the wave, right? She's being a helper, and she's supporting a lot of other people in being helpers, and they're seizing the opportunity to make a difference. I'm so grateful that, you know, Susan, if you don't know this, Susan is our board president, and I'm super happy to have someone like her on our team. She's a terrific human being. Marilou, hi, Marilou. I didn't realize you were online with us. She says, I'm setting up Zoom rehearsals for a group called the Ukuleles. We meet weekly to sing and play our ukuleles. We missed our time together. That's beautiful, Marilou. Thank you. And thanks for joining us. Thank you very much. Susan, Is it seamstressunited.org or .com? Connie is texting, so maybe you could respond to that text. And Bobby Gillen is also looking for a pattern to make face masks. So here we are. Finding ways to make kindness and compassion and love go viral. This is what we really are called to do, to become obsessed, as I said earlier, with creating heaven on earth, to consider ways that we can open our hearts more and more fully to becoming more and more godlike in the physical realm. And so we ride the waves, we be helpers, we seize the opportunity to make a difference in the world, and we just go for it. And so what I want to invite you to do now is pray this in with me to anchor this message in consciousness, to anchor this awareness of something greater than we are. And so I invite you right now to turn within, to recognize in the very richness of your breath, life, the infinite power and presence and love of God, the power and presence of life breathing you now. And with each breath, you become more and more aware of the indwelling presence of God in you. And you recognize your oneness with the infinite. And it's in this conscious awareness that I invite you to consider now how it is you are called to ride the waves right now. How is it that you are called to lean in, to center, to deepen in your awareness that God is good and all is well? And how is it you are called to be a helper? Perhaps something here today has piqued your interest. Or perhaps you're already being a helper. Or perhaps you have a neighbor who needs some grocery shopping done. How are you called to be a helper, to show up in service to the web of interbeing? And allow yourself now to know from deep within how it is you are called to seize this opportunity to grow deeper in your awareness that God is good and all is well. How is it you are called to create heaven on earth? And you simply allow the infinite intelligence of God to make itself known to your mind, for your mind and God's mind are one mind. And as you say yes to the call, know that you are powered by the infinite resource of God, and that all that is required for you to live into that which you are called to be is already provided. And so I give thanks for the opening and the awareness. I give thanks that we are source for viral love energy that heals the world. And so I close this message with a grateful heart and simply let it go. And so it is. Amen. Beautiful. Thanks, everybody. And so it is, Nancy. Beautiful. So y'all, I do want to invite you to, hang on just one second, to participate. Give me 1 second here to get this right. I want to invite you to participate in our offering. Susan, are you live? I'm not sure that, there she is. Hey, Susan. I am going to go ahead and turn this over to Susan for a moment. She's going to talk to you about our offering and our spiritual practice of giving. Go ahead, Susan.
So this is the time during our service when we give of our financial abundance to our center. As we enter this time of giving, we reflect on the message today. How are we called to be a helper, to show up in service to the web of interbeing? So what is mine to do? As we learn and grow together in this message today, it's easy for us to remember that God is our source and we give because God gives, because we have received so abundantly that we cannot wait to share with the source of our spiritual inspiration. And this giving is a spiritual practice that grows us. Our gifts support our center's mission. And the way that you can give, you can see on your screen here, you can go to unityofbellevue.org, give, and you can give there. There's actually a button, or you can text to give. There are many ways if you go onto our website that you can see to give. And it's this giving that keeps us going, that keeps our center going, that makes it possible for us to provide these messages online and then in person when we're able to meet in person. We know that awakening people to our spiritual nature is the essence of awakening our planet, a place that's ready to wake up. In this consciousness, I'd like all of us to repeat our offering affirmation together. Divine love
through
me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. And I'm just going to speak a word of blessing on this offering. I know that this offering is received on behalf of Unity of Bellevue. I receive this offering with a grateful heart, knowing that it goes forth to do a great and mighty good in the world, not just in our community, but in the world through the gift of our own tithe. And so I consecrate these gifts to that good use and call it good. And so it is. Amen. And Monica has some announcements for us. Go ahead, Monica.
Hi, everyone. My name is Monica McDowell-Elvig. I'm the center administrator. I don't know if you can see me yet, but I'm just going to get started. We welcome you to Unity of Bellevue Live. I am streaming from the sanctuary, and we are so glad that you are here. Sanctuary means safe place, and we want to provide safe places for you while we're in quarantine, while we're sheltering in place, whatever we're doing, that we want to provide online safe spaces for you to share, to find support, and to find inspiration. So we are so grateful you are here, and thank you for being here. One of the ways that we want to continue to provide safe places for you is for your prayer requests. Our prayer chaplains can be accessed through the website. We have a page just for prayer. There's a prayer form request that you can fill out, and that goes to the prayer chaplains. You can also email them directly at prayerchaplains, all one word and plural, prayerchaplains@unityofbellevue.org, and they will be happy to pray with you and for you. Also, if you saw the slideshow that was at the beginning, right before the services, that most of those photographs came from Ken McClellan, who is our resident volunteer photographer, and we are so grateful for his contribution to our community. It makes a difference when we put things like this together. We have all of these wonderful photos to pull from, so thank you, Ken. Our annual membership meeting is today at noon via Zoom. You can find that link if you're a member, or if you want to attend that and you're not a member and you want to attend, that link is on our website too, unityofbellevue.org/launch. Our sacred service for the months of March and April are going to be that we are spring cleaning for youth and family. We're extending that another month, and some of you are bringing things in during the week. I'm generally here. Just call or email if you want to drop some things by the YOU room. we're getting quite a good collection. So thank you for that sacred service. At the end of April, Sabrina will take those used items and donate them to Value Village in exchange for dollars. Easter is coming up on April 12th. We will keep you posted on what that means for Unity of Bellevue, because we don't really know right now, but we want to keep you posted. And that's true for all of our events right now. Sisters in Spirit, Men's Breakfast, Unity Life, Unity LGBTQ, all of our ongoing monthly events. We may be live streaming them. We may be postponing them until we can meet again in person. So just stay up to date on our website. We keep it as up to date as we can, unityofbellevue.org. And go and sign up for our weekly e-news as well on that page. If you don't already receive that, it's on the bottom of every page of our website. You can sign up for that and stay tuned for more information. Thank you, everybody. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Monica. I just want to reinforce with you all, do feel free to come to our annual membership meeting this afternoon at high noon. Even if you're not a member, it's open to everyone. Only members can vote. But if you're curious to see how we do things and learn a little bit about our community, the annual membership meeting is a great way to do that. You'll find the link to that on the launch page on the website. I also want to note that we have some new members. The new member installation was supposed to be the first Sunday that we met online. We're postponing that until we're back together in person, but I do want to let you know who our new members are. Our new members are Cheryl Yeager, Jean Palmatier, Dawn Walker, and Sharon Wolf. So let's just join them in loving consciousness and welcome them into our community. And another community note I want to make is our beloved Sabrina, who's our Youth and Family Programs Director, is actually in Germany right now. Her mother-in-law fell ill and passed away, and so she and her husband have taken their family and they've gone to Germany. I don't know when she's going to be coming back. So we'll just kind of see what unfolds with that. But do look forward to, even while she's in Germany, Sabrina is going to be preparing some video lessons for our kids. And she's also going to have some lesson plans to send to you parents so that you will have some materials that you can work with your kids if you choose. So look forward to hearing that from Sabrina sometime, I think late this week. She will be working on that while she's in Germany. All right, let's close. Any final comments? Feel free to put those in the Zoom chat. And it looks like you guys are connecting up all over the place. So I'm really happy to see that around, you know, making masks and things like that. So as we close, please join me in the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thanks for joining us. Feel free to stick on here for a few minutes and chat if you would like. And we'll be in touch. Join us on Wednesday at 1 o'clock for Wednesday Weekly Connect. And next Sunday, we'll be right here at 10 a.m. for meditation. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Bye-bye.